Hey guys, Brian here from SolidWoodWorx. Today I'm going to show you how to build and install your pre-cut drawer system that you can purchase on my website for your 4Runner and other SUV drawer systems. So let's do it! For your drawer system kits, I'm going to explain to you what these pieces are before we start building it. So first things first, here you have your box uprights. As you can see, they all have insets that are all clipped together simply, as you'll see as I start building the system. The next wood you'll have here are the drawer side jambs, as you can see, with the divider slots and the false top slots, as well as the insets to snap together and build a lot easier. You will have the drawer bottoms that will have the insets easily snap together and build your drawer box with ease. Included will be two drawer fronts, which will have markings on the back that will easily be able to allow you to line it up and snap into your drawer system. We have the drawer box backs, which will go on the back of the two side jambs and screwed in through the bottom of the drawer bottom. You will have the drawer box bottom, which will have the three uprights, the back, and then holes to screw it all together, which you can then attach the drawer slides, which we'll see in this step-by-step process as well. You will also have a 3/4 inch top to your drawer system, which will be strong enough to hold a lot of weight, or if you're using the sleeping extension, this will be a nice flat surface for you to sleep on. As you can see, we have pre-drilled holes in here to line up perfectly with the rest of your system. First things first is the back of your box. Here's your back. You can see there's two insets on the back and one in the middle. You want to find your box jambs. A jamb is an upright piece in your system. That will pop in right here, like such. You do the same for all three. As you can see, there's pre-drilled holes on the system, as well as mounting holes for your mounting hardware, which can also be purchased on our website. So now that you have all three of these set up, you're going to want to start screwing them in. So now that you have your jamb flush into your back, you'll take 3 screws, hold your hands on here tight to make sure it's a nice flush corner. I'll start with the top. You want to countersink the screw so that no screw heads are sticking out. Also, when you're starting to build your system, it's a lot easier to build it with the flat side down and with these insets up. I will now put the other screws in. With one more in the bottom. As you can see, this is not lining up, so you want to squeeze that together nice and tight so that you have no gap here. Put the next screw in. Now we have the back screwed into the jamb. We will now put one more screw this direction. Now that we have 2 screws from the back into the jamb, we'll put a 3rd screw through the jamb into the back. So now you have attachment points this direction and this direction to keep it as strong as possible. I'm going to work on to the next jamb here. This jamb will pop into the hole. Same thing. Screws going into it. Make sure this is flush. And the 3rd jamb, which will pop in just like the others into the corner. 3 more screws. Sometimes I screw the screws in by hand before I set it up, so you have a hand to make sure the corner's flush and one hand on your drill. So I'm going to make sure everything's flush here, lining up. 1, 2, 3. Now, all of the jambs and the back of your system are attached. We'll take the bottom, set it on flush in here, and start screwing the bottom down. Here is the bottom of your drawer system. As you can see, we have the inset holes in the middle and all sides to lock into place perfectly on these jambs here. Now that you got your bottom on the drawer system, I'll usually line it up so I can work off the front, so I can make sure the front is nice and flush here. Once again, handful of screws. Kind of set yourself up. Feels flush to me. I'm applying pressure down and to the side, so I know that this seam is nice and tight. Working my way down, so now here I can feel a little lip. I want to make sure that's nice and flush. Screw it down. Right here, nice and tight. No lips. Screw it down. Now it's just a matter of working your way around the drawer system. Just like the jambs, the bottom and the sides both have screws. So as you can see, I've added a screw, 2 screws to the bottom. Now I'm going to add the screw to the side, which is now attaching the jamb into the bottom of the system. Make sure it's flush. Working my way down. As you can see, I'll attach the bottom, then the side, side, bottom, so that I know that it's working flush all the way down. I'll do the same thing to the back. Now that I have this one in, I'll work to here. Now you can see you have all your screws into from the bottom into the jambs, as well as jambs into the bottom. 3 on the side here. This is what we have so far. You have your 3 jambs, your back, and your drawer bottom. The drawer box is now starting to take shape. Next, we will install the inside, the drawer slides on the inside of the box. And I have a little trick to this, as well as pre-drilled holes to make it easy for you. As said before, included is non-locking slides. If you want to upgrade, you can find them on my website. As for these slides, you can detach the inner rail from the rest of the drawer slide by clicking this black tab. Once you press this black tab up, pull the inner slide from the outside slide, and put the inner slide away for now. This outside slide will sit right into a drawer system like this, flush to the bottom. I work with it up like this, so you're now screwing down, and you're not inside trying to screw sideways. It's a lot easier way to do it. You'll now want to attach your drawer slide to the drawer box. You'll want to use the included drawer slide screws, which have a truss head on it, much wider, flat head. You'll see pre-drilled hole locations for the drawer slide. You'll slide it flat to the bottom and flush to the front here. You'll now be able to easily see an exposed hole here, which you'll attach the screw to. I now slide it out so I can get to the back holes. I'll put at least 3, if not up to 4 screws in your drawer box, depending on the length of your slides. While I have it standing up like this, I usually try to do the next slide as well. Now this is what we have so far. Slides in one side. Now when I go to lift it the other way, I can attach these two slides. Once we're done with attaching the drawer slides, we now have the two pairs of outer rails attached in the drawer system. We have our two pairs of inner rails off to the side here. We'll keep our drawer screws, drawer slide screws with us. We're going to slide this out of the way and build the drawer boxes. Now we will assemble the drawers. You have a pair of side jambs as well as a second pair. Drawer bottom and drawer backs. Just like the drawer box, you'll want to work from the flat side and have your insets faced up. We'll take your drawer back, stand up your drawer side, drawer back will pop right in like such. With your longer screws that are included, one right into the back, keeping it flush. One from the side into the back. Now we're able to get the third one. Now here's your second side. Fits right in there. I will pre-thread my screws. Make sure it's flush. Now we have the carcass of the drawer. Just like before, we'll set the drawer bottom on. Now this is very particular how you set it on because it all kind of looks the same as you can see. But one side has these three pocket holes on it. Those three pocket holes will want to go towards the front of the drawer, this open side here, as you can see. And the back will have three small pre-drilled holes, which will just screw down into the back of the drawer box here. So all of this will snap down fairly easily. Same as before. You want to flush the front up. As I had said before, you want to make sure that your screws countersunk. On a screw, you can see the angled edges, and that is what helps bring the screw and suck it tight into the wood. You always want to countersink your screws so that there's nothing sticking out, nothing to get caught on. This is something that you should be doing in any kind of woodworking. The back of the drawer system, same thing. Make sure that's flush and countersunk. Now on the back here, this is the only time you will have to ever screw 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch. So these holes are already here, but just be mindful of that to make sure that your screw is straight up and down. You don't want to be screwing at any angles to hopefully not protrude out of the side of the wood. As I was saying, screwing into the 1/2 inch is a lot less material than the 3/4, of course. So as you can see with this screw, make sure that your screw is very straight and not angled at any direction to not protrude out of this 1/2 inch wood. All right. Now that is your drawer box, which will then slide into the drawer system. What we're going to have to do before we do that is attach the slides. You can see there, they set right on top, handful of your drawer slide screws. You want to line it up with the already pre-drilled screw holes here. Same thing, I'll probably just hand screw a couple of them in. And you'll want to keep this front tab more so flush with the front of the drawer system. As you can see, building this drawer system be very nice to have a nice big flat surface. I would recommend it. If you don't have a nice flat table like this, I would recommend having a couple sawhorses and throw a sheet of plywood on there, a party table, anything like this that you can get your hands on, and or just a really flat ground in your garage or somewhere as flat as possible to make it easy to line everything up. We tried to think of everything while putting this drawer kit together. So having these pre-drilled slots really helpful, so you don't have to pull out your tape measure and mark everything. As you can see, I haven't even used my pencil or tape measure this entire time. I've literally just used the drill motor, the screws, and the hardware that come with it. So right now we have one drawer together. We'll put the front on later in this process, but I just wanted to show you how easy it slides into the drawer system. So you can see you have your slides in here. You'll be able to just lift it up, line it up, same on this side, and it'll all slide in. You'll hear a click. Now that means that the inner rail and the outer rail have clicked together, and your drawer is now safely in the system, flush on the outside. Because of those pre-drilled holes, you now have a flush front area of the drawer system. We'll build the second drawer and slide it in as well. So as you can see, we have this gap underneath the drawer here. You always want to have a gap underneath the drawer for airflow and so the drawer is not sliding on the drawer bottom and creating any friction or scratching any surfaces. So to create something like that in any sort of drawer you're going to build, you want to know the thickness of the drawer slide that you're working with as such. And then you want to find the middle of the drawer slide where the screw holes are. For instance, this drawer slide is 1 3/4 tall. So the middle of this right here would be 7/8. So to allow yourself to have an 1/8" gap down here, you're going to want to measure up from the side of your drawer. You have the side of your drawer here. You want to measure up 3/4, which is 7/8 minus 1/8. Make a mark. Measure up 3/4. Make a mark, and use some sort of level. What I personally like to use, what we just call flat iron. You can find just a piece of steel or aluminum like this at Home Depot, a couple bucks in the metal area. Line up your 2 hatch marks there. Draw a line all the way through. You can now see you have a line down the entire side of your drawer box. And you can see that line actually lands on my pre-drilled holes already. All right, now that we have both drawers, as you can see, drawer 1, drawer 2 built and in the drawer system, I keep the top of the drawer system off as long as possible until the very end, just so it doesn't get scratched or messed up during this process. And you can always see into where you're working, just in case you were to put a screw in the wrong place or the drawer is not sliding in perfectly. You can assess it from there. So now we have the drawer front. These are also made on the CNC, so you have perfect handles already cut into here. And you have a template of how to line up the drawer to the drawer front. So as you can see, you will have a nice flush line here and on the top, and the holes are actually on the inside. If you can see on this drawer, you can see these, they're called pocket holes, which allow a screw to go this direction into a piece of wood that's on its face, so that you don't have any screw holes coming from the outside. So for these types of screws, they'll be marked as drawer front screws. And if you have, it would be good to use a longer drill bit. These ones will work fine, but you might use this little shield here to scratch the side of your drawer a little bit. If you have access to a longer drill bit like this, that would be much better. Now that you have the drawer front snapped in, you can actually feel how strong it is. It's not even screwed in yet, but left to right and up and down, it's already clipped in with just that little 16th cut out to make it fit perfectly onto the drawer. So now on the inside, there'll be 2 pocket holes on each jamb, which will be attached with the drawer front screws labeled in your package. The reason I attach it this way is just so it has a nice clean front to it and you don't see any screws going through the front. So as you can see on the drawer fronts, I already have one in and installed. This drawer front comes halfway through this jamb here and covers the entire section over here. So you want to make sure when attaching the drawer fronts that you have the right gaps. You can see this here is a little skinnier than this here, so that when it lines up, these will line up in the center here with a nice little 1/8 inch gap there, and this will line up on the side. So I'm going to slide it out a little bit. Make sure it clips in. Like such. When screwing these drawer front screws in, definitely apply pressure this direction so that when you're screwing this way, it doesn't pop it back out and keeps a nice flush top. Each jamb has 2 screws, so 2, 4, and then this bottom that I explained earlier has the pocket holes underneath it. Once I finish these 2, I'll show you how that works. So now that you had your front attached from the side jambs, you can see I have the whole system up on its side, and the drawers are slid out. You're going to now want to attach these 6 screw positions here. These are pocket hole screws, just like on the side jambs. You're going to want to also have your long bit and the drawer front screws. You're going to line it up right in the middle of that hole, pressure into the drawer front, and attach just like that. If you've ordered the box mounting hardware set to come with your kit here, this is what you'll be getting. 4 T-nuts, 4 bolts to attach the T-nuts, and 2 D-rings. This is how you'll be attaching it. You'll put the T-nuts into the pre-drilled slots here, like such. You'll be using a hammer to smash them down, and then once we get them all in, we'll flip the system back up, use the D-rings and bolts to then attach to the side of the system. When smashing these T-nuts down, you don't need to get them super far into the wood. You just want to get a couple, just like such. If you can see, the little spikes from the bottom are into the wood. I'm going to line this one up and do the same. Now when I put the system back down, you will now have a threaded hole in here because you have your T-nuts into the wood on the other side. Grab your D-ring. I'll usually just set it on there like this. Hold it with one finger, hand tighten the bolt into the hole. Same on the other one. Tighten the bolt into the hole. Make sure you're not cross-threading it. And then you can take your drill motor. There we go. You don't need to sink it. You just got to make sure that these 2 are tight and it'll pull pressure between the 2. Now you have a D-ring mounting point. So if you have ordered the plans that include your dividers and false tops, I'll show you real quick how those work. They'll come looking like this. These are the dividers. They slide right into the slots here. 1 and 2. I make them removable so that you can have them in if you're trying to organize food, different overlanding equipment, camera gear, whatever you have in here, or removable if you're trying to fit a stove in one area or a larger longer, some people with like their guns or different longer items in here, camping chairs, things like that. So super simple. And then, of course, the false tops. This is one of the better ideas I think I've had with these systems, and a lot of people buy the systems almost just for this reason. You not only have storage options, but now you have a sliding out table out the back of your vehicle. So those clip in just right into these dado points here. And now you have one large cooking area that can slide out of the back of your vehicle. You can have your stove up here cooking, chopping things, working on something up here. If you want to keep them in the vehicle, they fit nicely into the drawer system right here. So they're all away. If you think that you want to have them off, one of them off, so you can get to things, slide it out of the way, get to the back portion, perfect. Or you can keep them both out and have an open drawer. I first came up with this idea many years ago when I built a system for my first gen 4Runner, which I eventually took on a trip all the way through Central and South America. I thought that this was just such a simple idea that I wanted to create it as easy as possible for other people to build themselves and even have the ability to get everything sent to them and have some fun putting it together themselves, like a little project with their family or friends. So I hope watching this video of how this kit goes together will give you some ideas of your own to purchase this kit and get out there and explore as much as you can in your own SUVs. I've been making these for different vehicles that I see people out adventuring in, 4Runners, Subarus, different vehicles like this that I see out on the trails a lot when I'm out exploring myself. If you've been looking for a storage system for your adventure vehicle, hopefully this gives you some ideas and gives you an option to get out there and explore. Whether it's the DIY plans and you cut the wood yourself with your own tools, or the pre-cut, easy to assemble kits, I'm just hoping that you guys can get out there and have fun just like everybody else.